This video showcases my thoughts on the spirit animals and symbolism associated with them in the game Life is Strange. For the duration of the guide, I'll be referring to the spirit animals as spirit guides, but also as totems. I'll also reference all the sites I use below for you to have a look at if you want. At this point, I'd just like to warn you that this contains major spoilers for episode 4 Darkroom. I'd highly recommend not watching this video if you haven't finished that episode. Let's start off with an easy one. Max. Max's spirit animal is without a doubt the doe. The most prominent animal in the game associated with Max, it makes sense that it would be her spirit guide. At the very beginning of the game, the spirit doe appears at the lighthouse to guide her. A lighthouse is traditionally associated with safety, guidance and hope, emphasising the fact that the doe is trying to lead Max out of harm's way by showing her the future of Arcadia Bay. The doe is hugely symbolic of spiritual healing, kindness, compassion, being intuitive, quick thinking and resourceful, all aspects of Max's personality. She's obviously able to think on her feet and use items to her advantage throughout the game, and although she seems nosy, she genuinely cares about people, particularly Chloe and Kate. Max also wears her Jane Doe shirt at the beginning of the game. A term commonly used for someone who is unidentified in a hospital, this could be indicative of Max's journey beginning as she comes into her own and begins discovering who she is in her new adult life. She wears a second shirt with the doe on it and encounters a picture of the doe in the bathroom in the Two Wheels diner. She and Samuel even have a conversation about it. He confirms that if she saw the doe, it's probably her spirit animal, and confirms that his is a squirrel. Most importantly, the doe appears to Max in episode 2 in the American Rust junkyard. The specific spot it appears in has great significance in later episodes, as it's revealed as the burial spot of Rachel Amber. The doe appears once more in the junkyard as Max and Chloe discover the body. It bows its head in reverence for the dead, satisfied that Max has been led to the truth. Many people have the opinion that Rachel is the doe. However, I disagree due to the overwhelming evidence that Max's animal is the doe. Personally, I don't think Rachel has the same traits as Max does, and that she doesn't fit in as well with the doe. I'll cover this a little more later when I go into Rachel's spirit animal, but for now, I believe that Max is the doe. Next, I want to go into Chloe. Native American folklore depicts a trickster hero named Blue Jay, who frequently visits the land of the dead. Blue Jay is ultimately good-natured and wants to help humanity, but can't help but cause mischief and act out of selfishness and personal enjoyment sometimes. This is obviously applicable to Chloe's personality in a large way. She's a rebel. A prankster can sometimes be selfish, but at her core, she wants to help save Arcadia Bay and find out the truth about Rachel. Blue Jay also has a sister called Yohei, who claims always tells lies. This is a mantra of Chloe's, written in her bedroom and across the game in her handwriting. She has trust issues and claims that everybody lies. This also fits in with the Blue Jay character. Blue Jay also allows for the sun to get stolen in one of the folktales. This could allude to Chloe being the cause of the later in-game eclipse and the eco-disaster. The people who previously owned the sun almost killed Blue Jay because his lies had been the cause of their losing the sun. This could be a huge indicator that Chloe isn't telling us everything, and that maybe she's the reason the town lost Rachel, who has scary amounts of sun symbolism associated with her. You've all probably noticed the in-game option to save this Blue Jay bird as an added extra. If you saved it in episode 1, you can continue to save it in each episode. This is hugely symbolic of Max's constant decision of whether or not to save or abandon Chloe. She obviously dies a lot in the game, notably more than any other character. Speaking of death, Blue Jay finds rest in the land of the dead when visiting his sister there. This could have some vague relations to Yohei as Rachel, and Chloe as Blue Jay. She can only appreciate the things in the world and find peace when she dies, ending her emotional suffering. A long shot, but worth a try. As for Blue Jay being a male character, that's not a deal breaker. Chloe has the words "think like a man" written in her room, and clearly has issues with male authority in her life. On top of that, Blue Jays are also blue, and Chloe is the character we associate most with the colour because of her striking hair. Obviously, the Blue Jay belongs to Chloe. Now for an obvious one. Samuel, with squirrels. He confirms it himself when we're talking to Max. Squirrels are scavengers. They hoard and collect things. Naturally, this explains the girly items in Samuel's maintenance shed. He probably collects mementos which remind him of girls who speak to him, valuing their company, and taking part in a world that he's not used to being in. The symbolism behind the squirrel is quite touching, in that people with squirrel totems tend to just want to fit in and seek acceptance. Obviously this would apply to poor Samuel, who is scorned by most of the students as a weirdo. Even Max admitted in the beginning that he's weird, even if she does kinda like that about him. Squirrel spirit animals also reflect people who take great pride and comfort in hard work. This also makes sense for Samuel, who is always working hard on campus with paint jobs and cleaning up after everybody. Samuel is also a curious person in himself, in that his spirit animal can be found everywhere across Arcadia Bay. The squirrels also play a part in Max's photo opportunities, and one even leads her to the entrance of the Prescott barn. The squirrels seem to act as a symbol of Samuel's animal instinct and keen intuition about what goes on in the town, and particularly what goes on with Max. He even comments that the squirrels whisper to him every morning. Mari from Geek Remix did a video which explored Samuel as the eyes of God, which I totally recommend you watch now, considering that his seemingly knowing conversations get more intense throughout the game. Now for a lesser known mention. Joyce, and the whale. I believe her spirit animal is the whale, because she's worked in the diner for many years and it's the only animal really associated with her. The whale represents history, preservation, tradition, and value in community and family. Very applicable to Joyce, as she's well known in the Bay and as a waitress and as a good person. She has strong family values, mentioning many times that she just wants Chloe and David to give up on their disagreements and act like a proper family. The beach whales in the Eagle Crisis could mean that Joyce's hope for her family changes. This is true in both timelines. In the alternative timeline, she loses hope for her daughter's survival after the accident. We all know Chloe's going to die. In the original timeline, the family have an argument, resulting in either Joyce being mad at Chloe or dismissing David from the house. Either way, their family situation changes. The death of the whales on the beach could also mean the death of the history of Arcadia Bay. In other words, the impending storm will wipe out the entire town, leaving no tradition or history behind, only the newly formed Pan Estates. It could also foreshadow Joyce's death in the future as a result of the eco-disaster. Next on the list is Frank. He's clearly well associated with the dog totem. He's a love for dogs and is known to have rescued them from dog fights, which is how he came across his faithful companion Pompidou. People with dog totems are fiercely loyal, loving and dependable. This is understandable considering how he acts when he talks about Rachel. He cares for her, clearly missing her company, and acts like a lost puppy without her. He takes pride in the pictures of her, keeping one in his wallet. His codenames in his logbook are all encrypted with dog breeds. Frank also seems to want to get away from his drug business, evident from the manual in his RV. This fits with the willing to learn and resourceful attitude of the dog totem. It makes complete sense that he would have a dog as a spirit animal. Principal Wells is a short addition to the list. The bronze eagle on his desk might mean that it's his spirit animal. It makes more sense considering he's an influential person as head of Blackwell. An eagle is symbolic of great strength, courage, leadership, prestige, and an opportunistic figure. This could reflect the nature of the principal's relationship with the Prescotts. It may be that he just took an opportunity to get into their scheme in order to save face, gain power, or keep his reputation clear. Kate's pet bunny is basically the sign that it's her spirit animal. We all know rabbits have a reputation for getting down to it and producing lots of little rabbits. Whether this applies to Kate is unlikely. However, if we take into consideration that there's the possibility she had a relationship with Jefferson, it could make sense that her spirit animal would be associated with sex. It could also mean that she's being such a good girl that she has lots of pent-up sexual tension due to her abstinence. Rabbits are also associated with caution in new undertakings, links to nature and nurturing, as well as compassion. Fear is a dominant feature for someone with a rabbit totem. Makes sense as Kate's everyday torments with bullying take a toll on her and create fear surrounding her family life, school life, and religious activities. Next on the list, it's Warren. His desire to go ape with Max could be indicative of his spirit animal. Although this is a total long shot, I'd like to think that some of the attributes of the ape spirit animal would make sense for him. Like the spirit animal, he can be a bit of a jokester and seems to embody the trait of knowledge and mentoring when it comes to Max. He gives her science advice to make the pipe bomb, even though he did need her help for his experiment in episode 2. Like I said, bit of a long shot, but probably worth mulling over. Next, we have Nathan. Personally, I believe that Nathan is a good candidate for the wolf totem. In the Native American zodiac, the wolf is seen as the most loving animal, compassionate and content, but only in a nurturing environment. However, it's clear Nathan doesn't have that, except perhaps with his best friend Victoria, or his sister. It would make sense that he would act to protect Victoria, as his usual family environment isn't exactly supportive, and is probably the root of his aggressive and vindictive behaviour. Wolves howl to defend their boundaries. Nathan's aggressive shouting is his way of defending himself. It's clear that this could be his spirit animal, but maybe we'll find more evidence in the next episode. For now, I'm keeping on my toes. Then we have Jefferson. Jefferson has the Owl Totem. It only appears in episode 4, and if you're clued up on your symbolism, it will probably have greatly attributed to you figuring out that Jefferson was involved in the Darkroom conspiracy. Owls are associated with wisdom, unconventional points of view, and most importantly, death. Wisdom is easily associated with him as a teacher. He seems to have a lot of life experience, and his profession as a photographer means he's constantly looking at life from unconventional angles. How else would his work be popular? In many cultures, the owl is a symbol of oncoming death. The last appearance of the owl in the junkyard gives a major foreshadowing for the ending of the episode. Its appearance in the rafters of the Prescott barn also indicate Jefferson's presence there. We know he was there due to his tracked car coordinates as well as his now known association with the Darkroom conspiracy, but the foreshadowing is right there. Max wakes the owl with her photograph. Perhaps this means she will ruffle Jefferson's feathers in the next episode. However, some people have speculated that the owl totem is misunderstood, and that its association with death is due to old lore about the owl being a guardian of the underworld and protector of the dead. Protecting and accompanying a spirit to the underworld, the owl would let souls rest in peace. The owl also has a connection to being able to understand and see the true motives of people. Perhaps this could give us a bad guy twist for Jefferson. Either way, I don't think him being the bad guy is as cookie cutter as we're led to believe. In Native American culture, the owl is associated with the foretelling of weather conditions. Does this mean Jefferson knows about the storm? Is he a time traveler too? Also planning a follow-up video due to the relation of these traits with Rachel's junkyard letter. You can probably guess the direction I'm going with that one. And now for the big one, Rachel Amber. Rachel's spirit animal is much debated, but I've concluded that it's probably the blue butterfly. The doe was on her grave, I hear you say. Why isn't she the doe? Because that belongs to Max, and I think there are no duplicate spirit animals in the game. It makes for a more diverse story without multiples. Also, their traits are different. I'll get to that in a minute. But she has a feather earring, I hear you cry. Why isn't she a blue jay? We already established that that was Chloe's totem. It could be that her earring is just showcasing her close relationship with her friend's totem. They are together in the full version of the photo, and Chloe has blue butterflies in her tattoo, a symbol that she's always thinking of Rachel. The butterfly is a bringer of joy and change, and is greatly symbolic of beauty and flamboyancy. They live short lives, from a few weeks to a year. Freedom, creativity, and a knack for not taking things too seriously. This is all more reminiscent of Rachel than any other character. She's the aspiring model, the one who was too cool for the Vortex Club and the small town vibe. It makes more sense for her to be a butterfly. Beautiful and charming, she's the embodiment of all these traits. Which brings us to Max. Chrysalis is the first episode name, and her mentioning her bedroom as her favourite cocoon. Perhaps there is a link between her and the butterfly, her and Rachel. Maybe they share both animals. The butterfly appears to Max to give her her powers at the beginning of the game. If we assume that the butterfly represents Rachel, the gift of Max's powers could have been given to her to protect Chloe. Obviously with devastating consequences as the eco-disaster looms. Butterflies can be considered in some cultures as messengers from the dead, or representatives of angels. Chloe openly admits that Rachel Amber was her angel. There are many who say that loved ones communicate through butterflies. It would make sense that Rachel, or maybe even William, would want to protect Chloe from beyond the grave. Spirit animals can change as a person progresses in their life journey, so perhaps Max takes on the guise of Rachel at a later date. This wouldn't be the most far-fetched theory, but honestly I think Max is Max and Rachel is Rachel. Mostly, I suppose it's because I can't imagine Max changing so dramatically. Sex, drugs and rock and roll are hardly Max's forte, and she'd be taking part in plenty of that if she were Rachel. If she were to become Rachel, it would be a little absurd, particularly considering Rachel's relationships with Jefferson and Frank. I'm hoping to post another video to cover that a little deeper. I feel like Max wouldn't go through with everything Rachel did, and that spending a few extra years playing the role and supporting Chloe would not warrant acting so outrageously on her part, but it's a nice theory and a nice thought. For now, I think that's about it for spirit animals. I don't want to make too many assumptions with little evidence. Hope this video was enlightening for you. Check out the sources I listed below, and have a great day. Comment and let me know your thoughts. Thanks.